So what's up, everybody? This is BSP. This is gonna be on home buying in Japan. I'm gonna give it some sort of name about your lender, like banking, how to get a loan in Japan, something like that. I'll call it. I'll figure it out when I get done with the video. I'm just coming up here right away before I head to the gym because I just got out of a meeting, an hour and a half long meeting with my lender. My wife and I were sitting there with a lender. And the way things work here in Japan is when you get everything started, like we build in the house, so we got the house build started and everything like that. They're gonna make the first payment because they'll do like 2 or 3 payments to the builder. What they do is they'll send out a third party person to inspect and make sure that the work is actually going on and everything is being built according to regulations and what was signed and agreed upon between the new owners, the owners, myself, and the builder, and they'll take it from there. And then if everything is right, they will go ahead and initiate that first part of the mortgage, part of the check to the builder. And then when the home gets built, when it gets finished, they will administer the second check. Some people might do it in 3 installments. And then right after that, we start making our monthly mortgage payment. Now, something came up today, and I want to make sure that no one else gets in this situation that I find myself in, because this is something that gets kind of lost between the cracks, okay? So it's going to involve me telling you my banking experience, or mortgage loan experience from last year, for you to fully understand where I'm at now and where my frame of mind is. So we got here last June, and last July we started talking to a local bank here about doing a loan for our home. And they looked at all my numbers. I actually showed them all my real numbers, like my income sources and my assets and everything like that. They went ahead and approved me. I got the approval. Like, that was a Friday. Monday I was approved, or Tuesday, one of those days. It took them a little bit longer. I think it took longer than that, maybe a week. And I got approved. I know I got approved the following week, pre-approved. And they, but basically it was approval. They approved me, but it was contingent upon me getting a permanent residence card here in Japan, which I didn't have at the time. I was here on a 1-year spouse visa, and I had assumed that I was going to be able to, as soon as I landed in the country, go ahead and start my process for PR, right? I never thought that I was going to need a 3 to 5 year spouse visa, which I have now after being here over a year. Anyway, the bank went ahead and said yeah, you're approved. You can do whatever loan you want up to 20 years. They'll let you pay up to a certain age in Japan, and but I know 20 years or 10 years was good. They said that if you would get a longer loan, it's easier for you to get it shortened if you wanted to, as opposed to starting off short and getting a longer one. And at that time, the rate was like 0.0 something or point something. And it was really, really good. It was going to be a good rate, and it was going to be a fixed rate, meaning I was thinking about doing a 15-year mortgage, and it would have been a fixed 15-year rate on that mortgage. Well, fast forward now to today, and I just got the news that my rate, without giving out too much of my personal information, I don't mind giving out the rate because a lot of people are going to run through this with this bank. I'm going with Suruga Bank. Suruga Bank, because I couldn't find a bank before. I thought I couldn't find a bank last summer that would finance a foreigner on a spouse visa. But after talking to my lawyer earlier this year, she had said that there are foreigners who can get bank loans, but she never told me the name of the bank. So we had to get off the phone and we had to search for the bank ourselves, and we did find the bank, and that bank was Suruga Bank. We started talking to Suruga Bank, and I sent them all my documents and everything like that. The whole time, I'm assuming that this is because they told us after they got my documents and everything like that, and after they approved me, they said, okay, you're approved for a 15-year mortgage at 1.725%. I was like, great, that's what I like, and I'm good. So they started building my home in July. So once they start the build, there's no going back on the loan, no matter what. Because if I said, well, hey, I don't want to do this loan, then I'm going to have to, we're going to lose the land that has been in family for over 60 years, and also the land that I bought next to that land to make the land a lot bigger, right? So that's not going to happen. And I remember telling my wife before all this that, I'm not going to do this deal if I know that I could not pay this loan off. I'm not going to do the deal. Now, I know that I can pay this thing today. I can pay off the entire thing today, or as quick as I can get access to my funds, because I have more than enough funds to do this cash deal. My thing is this. I am not going to park cash into a depreciating item. Homes in Japan depreciate. I know people may say, well, why do you want to even do a depreciating item? Well, it's because in Japan, people don't buy homes to flip. People buy homes and get homes built because that's their permanent residence, and that's going to be their permanent residence forever as long as they're on this rock. The same as me. This is going to be my permanent residence. I'm not changing nothing about it. I'm not going to do anything different about it. This is what I'm going to do. All right? This is where I'm going to live. So that's good to go. So like I said, they started building in July. Now, no matter what they come at you with, you're locked into whatever it is that they need you to do. So it's been almost 2 months now. My house getting built. Windows are now on the house. They're doing all the outside. I just drove past it. I'm up here at the birthplace of Skiing Hill again, which is, like I said, a 2-minute drive down from my house, new house. So we're in the middle of talking. And of course, everything is in Japanese. Okay, I can speak fluent Japanese. I can read Japanese. But there's a certain point where you're going to realize that you don't always know everything. Like, even my wife she needs people to understand her about how lending Japanese work, or how medical Japanese works. Everybody in Japan, it's like in the States too. You're in the middle, you speak perfect English, but when it comes to dealing with doctor terms and with mortgage terms, these are just terms that you're not familiar with, or contracts, whatever, that need to be explained to you, which was being explained to us today, and I was asking a lot of good questions. Well, in the process, he comes up and says, hey, because they send you documents. What they do is they mail you documents. They tell you in an email, hey, I need you to get a hold of these docs, like everything you need, your medical insurance card, your driver's license, your Zayu card, which is my residence, Gaijin residence card. They need things for my wife. Then they also needed us to hand over, which we're going to put in the mail and send to them, the official titles to our land, because we have title to our land because we paid cash to our land. My wife got that land, which was already paid for from my father-in-law. So we have property, we have titles for our land, which the bank will take because that's going to be part of the deal. That way, if we don't make the loan payments, guess what? They get to take over the house and the land, right? Which is not going to happen. Okay. So the day they told us, okay, you're what the procedure is going to be going forward. Your first payment is going to be January 1st because we're going to be able to move in December. Okay, yada yada yada. Near the end of the meeting, we're pulling out this form, this pamphlet that shows a graph that's going up, and I'm like, okay, great, what's this? And then I had to keep getting back and forth because my daughter was needing to be tended to, and my wife was right there to make sure that everything was right. And then I come back, and then we're talking about an adjustable rate mortgage. I'm like, oh, well, wasn't this supposed to be a 15-year rate, permanent, rate? And he's like, no, this is a adjustable rate mortgage. We had never discussed that in the beginning of the process. Never. That question was never brought up because I myself mistakenly assumed that was going to be a 15-year 1.725 mortgage. So I put that on myself. Because what happened was the bank that approved us locally was giving us a fixed rate mortgage for 15 years or 10, 15, 20 years, whichever one I wanted. So I automatically assumed that, okay, this bank's going to do the same thing. Even though I was speaking about it every day with my wife and all my peers, like, yep, I'm getting this. My wife heard me speaking about it, but we never asked the bank. This is a slip through. This is a slip through the crack. My wife never got on and said and never asked them. So today I get on her. I said, hey, why am I not finding out about this now? And my wife came explain to me and said, well, that's how they do things. This is the only way that they're going to give you a loan. And she said, I remember when I asked you about it, you said no matter what, let's do the loan. I said, yes, I said let's do the loan, but I did not say that I wanted to do an adjustable rate mortgage because that's not what I was thinking that was going to come up. Okay, so out of all the documents we got, nothing was ever brought up about an ARM. It was all like, yeah, 1.725, 15 years, blase, blase. Okay, So the reason why I'm telling you all this is because what will happen when you come across something, especially when you're married with a Japanese woman, which, like I said, my wife and I have a good relationship. But sometimes you'll have discussions where you'll get upset. I was upset today about this because I was like, hey, why wasn't this ever brought up? You knew what I wanted. And then, of course, my wife will come back to defend. Because Japanese women have a tendency to defend. They will always try to defend themselves on what they didn't say. Anything that they may have messed up on, they're going to come back in the defensive mode as opposed to addressing the issue. And I was basically trying to say, look, what we need, it's like the question came up, well, we might as well cancel. That doesn't make no sense to me right now. And I also told her, I said, it's like, it just shows that you are not aware of how money really works. Now, what I'm trying to say is this. In my house, yeah, my wife and I, we both handle funds. My wife makes sure that at least the setup, that the electric bill and everything is getting paid. Well, that's easy for her because I do everything automatically. I automatically pay all my bills, my mortgage, my rent, my electric bill, my phone bill. It all comes out automatically. And when I was in the States, I handled everything. I handled all the bills, made sure they were paid automatically. I handled my mortgage, yes, my brokerage accounts, my retirement accounts, even my wife's retirement account. Japanese women are good at, and I'm not assuming that all Japanese women is doing this. I don't want to skid up here and say that. But because the reason why I'm bringing this up, because a lot of foreigners who will hear, oh, Japanese women will take the paycheck from the husband and then give him a kotsukai, which is like a monthly stipend, and then she'll make sure all the bills are paid and things of that nature, right? They're good at that. They're really good at that. But what the problems lie is knowing how financing itself works outer financing, outside your home. Inside your home financing, yeah, they know, okay, I'm going to spend this much money for groceries, my electric bill is this, my water bill is that. I get that. But when it comes to outside financing, a lot of them don't really know much about how these things work. And so when I bring up a conversation today, when I bring up a thing, when I got off the phone with the lender and I talked to my wife about, well, we should have known about this 5-year adjustable rate mortgage. My wife's like, well, yeah, but you were saying that you would do a loan no matter what. Yeah, I would do a loan no matter what, but I still needed to know about this adjustable rate mortgage. Because if I'd have known about it, I could have said, you know what, let's not do this. Let's see what I'm going to do with how soon I'm going to get this AJU-KEN, right? I'm happy I'm getting the home built. I'm glad I'm getting it built now and sooner than later. And me as a finance guy who's always knowing my numbers, always dealing with financing because I'm always checking my brokerages. Not checking them all the time, but I'm saying, I'm always aware of my net worth and things like that. So knowing now what I know going forward on that, I'm on an adjustable rate mortgage now with Suruga Bank. Now I will get my permanent residence, which I'm going to apply for next year. I talked to my lawyer last week, and I'm going to do my PR. I think I talked to her this week, 26th. I'm going to do my PR application next year. Once I get my PR, then I'll be able to refinance my mortgage with my local bank, which is what I'm going to do. And upon refinance with my local bank, I'm going to make sure that I have a fixed rate mortgage, and I know I'm going to be able to get a lower mortgage than what I'm getting at a Suruga Bank. That's why I'm up here. So I'm up here to tell you guys this. When you're dealing with your wife when financing, especially outside financing, it's always necessary for you to question all the time. If you don't question enough, they're not going to worry about it because they're not spending the money. They're not the ones that's paying for this mortgage. I'm paying for this mortgage. It's my money. I'm using everything for this mortgage, right? I'm the one that's getting the sole income earner in the house. I'm not saying that my wife is not concerned or anybody else's wife is not concerned with what's being spent. But what I'm trying to say is the people, and in Japanese use the word yappari, the people who don't actually spend the money or make the money to spend the money are not too engrossed into how the money is being spent, if you will, or how things are getting settled. I hope you guys understand me. I'm sorry if I'm just trying to explain this as quickly and as nice as I can. So what I'm trying to say is this. You must always be up on your finances. You must always know what's going on. If you're the kind of guy that, okay, you let your wife get all the money, you give all your money to your wife, and then your wife gives you the money, like your little kotsukai. As long as the bills get paid, you're fine. And that's a simple setup. But what if you have to deal with getting a mortgage, or you are starting to look at, you have brokerage accounts, other assets, retirement accounts, things of that nature that need to be managed, handled, looked at, or whatever the case may be. That's because you made them in the U.S., right, or wherever country you're from. That's going to be you. You're going to be the one that have to take care of that, because your wife is not going to know anything about that. The thing about in Japan is most Japanese, they don't invest. They don't do investments. Most Japanese have their idea of money is saving money in the bank. They put money in the bank. They're like, okay, I'm putting money in the bank every month. I'm saving money, but they're not making any interest on that money. There's not. It's just collecting dust. I have a Japanese a bank account here. My wife has a Japanese bank account, and we both, the way they set it up here is, I open up a bank account, she opens a bank account, and then when we order our debit cards to get money out, our ATM cards, she gives me a card from her bank account and I give her a card from my bank account. That's how it works. So you have separate bank accounts, but you have access to each other's bank accounts. In the long run, that's actually a pretty good deal, because if anything happens, you can just say, well, nope, I'm cutting this card off. I don't need her to take any money out of my account. She can do this, vice versa. They can do the same thing to you, right? Okay. So, but we don't have that problem. So we're not in a situation where we're getting divorced or nothing like that. That's not me and my wife. We're a solid relationship. But all I'm saying is this: you're gonna run into situations where you need to understand how money works. I mean, you need to watch your money, because you can't always rely on them. Like I said, they will put their money in the savings account. It'll collect dust. The first time I spoke to my wife about investments, my wife was looking at it as a gambler's thing. Oh, that's like gambling. Oh, that's like, oh, we losing money. What if you lose money? And so it took me, I would say, about 3 years to get my wife to fully understand what investing does. And because she'd see the market go down. Oh, look, the market's going down. Hey, this, that, the other, whenever I would show her. I mean, otherwise, she never asked me about my investments or nothing like that, because she doesn't know how all that stuff works. In fact, she doesn't know it so much that I have to go into her own investment account that I set up for her own Roth IRA that I set up and that I distribute money to every month to do deals for her, to show her, hey, this is how you make a trade. This is how this works. See? So I do that, and then it's usually like a 5-minute conversation, and it's over. And they're looking at something else. They're interested in something else. So they don't even focus much on what the real, like, their finances. They don't focus on that. As long as the bill's getting paid, as long as the electric bills, those lights are on, and you got food in your belly and the water's good, that's mainly what they concern themselves with. It's a nice, simple, home economics. Basically, what I want to say is they're very good at home economics. But when you look at economics outside the home, that's going to be something for you to handle. And that's going to be for something you. And a lot of times, you're wasting your time if you're going to try to explain to them how this works. Like if you say, hey, look, the market just went up. I just made this much money on dividends. They'll stare at you with a blank face. Oh. And you show them, it's like, oh. And it's not resonating with them. They don't realize that they're wasting a lot of their money in a savings account when they should be investing instead of putting it. So in other words, what they should be doing is keeping at least 20% of their money in the savings, 80% in investments, because they don't need to grab that money right away. And they don't understand it. Well, but I'm losing money. No, you're not losing money. You're not losing money as long as you don't sell any of your assets that dropped. You just wait for it to go back up. On average, every year the market goes up. No matter what, on average, the market goes up. That's why they should never panic when the market goes down, because you're not getting that money for a long time anyway. And you never want to put all your money that you're trying to use for a trip, or like us, like you're going to pay your upgrades. You don't park that money in the investment account. You leave that money in the savings account. Then when you go get it, you pay it, and you're good. That's what you do. No matter what, even if it's not collecting interest. Within a few months, you're going to need that money. So you don't need to be worried about transferring money back and forth, paying for exchange rate differences and whatnot. No. You already got it in the bank. Leave it in the bank. Let it stay there. You're going to use it. Get it out and use it. So that's all I want to say. I just want to get up here and say that, when you're dealing with any outside finances, you need to ask the right questions all the time. Never assume. Never assume. Assuming that a loan was it was a 15-year fixed rate compared to an ARM is a big mistake on my part. And I told you guys, I'm not blowing smoke on anybody's ass. I'm always going to be truthful and honest. If I make mistakes, I'm going to say I made a mistake. I feel like the mistake was on me, but I also felt like my wife made a mistake because she heard me all talking about all this, but she never went out and double checked. But I don't really want to blame that on her. I want to say it's me because I should have double checked on it. I just mistakenly assumed that was going to be a 15-year fixed rate. Now, for me, it does. For people like me who are living in the top 3% of Japan, who are rich in Japan, rich in a lot of places, that doesn't really affect me too much. I know, like I said, I'm going to age coming up next year. I'll be able to refinance. But even if I couldn't refinance, let's say if I couldn't do nothing, and 5 years later, my payments started going up, I could still handle those payments. And I told my wife on the phone today when I was on the interview today with my lender, I said, you know what? If I don't like what I see, I'll just pay it off in 5 years because I can pay this loan off anytime I want. And that's what they will do. They will allow you to pay it off anytime you want to pay it off. So there is no prepayment penalty when you do loans. But one last thing I want to say. Yes, the reason why as a foreigner you're able to get a loan through Suruga Bank, because Suruga Bank will only allow you to get an adjustable rate mortgage. That's what they do. That's the catch. That they will only allow you to get an adjustable rate mortgage, and that's the catch that I myself did not know. All right? So this is BSP. I'm out. I'll think of a title to call this when I get off, but it's basically to do with home buying and mortgages here in Japan. All right? I just don't want you to run into the same thing I ran into. BSP out.